Okay, good morning, folks. What I'm holding in my hand here is a police baton. And why am I doing that? Well, I'm going to give you all some self defense tips. I just kind of felt like doing that today because this morning I was out for a walk, and that's where I do some of my best thinking. And I started thinking about the fuel shortages. I started thinking about what is going to happen when people are running out of fuel, they can't get to a gas station, or maybe there's rationing to where you can only fill up a few gallons, and then the pump shuts off because that's all that they allow. And there's lines, like I guess what was it, like in the late 70s, the Carter administration, I think, lines all the way, running for miles. People run out of gas or they can't get enough gas. Now, what's going to happen when you have that situation on top of the fact that people are getting laid off, unemployment, um, maybe credit, debit cards don't work in certain areas, they only accept cash, most people don't carry cash on them, or maybe it's a situation where certain grocery stores don't have a lot of food. Um, People are going grocery shopping, they're loading their car, with groceries, and people are observing. Other, predators are observing potential victims and watching to see, what they're going to do, where they park, when they load their groceries or whatever. Do they have kids with them? Are they alone? You know, See, that's what people do. That's what criminals do. They case things. They observe from a distance. They watch. And then when people get really desperate, they get violent. And I'm thinking, as I'm walking, I'm thinking about these different scenarios. I'm thinking about things I've experienced and seen in my life and dealt with. And desperate people do desperate things. And we could be in a situation here very shortly, maybe even within the next few weeks, if the information I'm getting is correct, of some major shortages, where people could get very desperate. So, I'm going to make a suggestion to people, okay? You probably can't find a police baton. For the most part, officers don't even use them anymore. They use what's called an ASP, like a collapsible baton, which, I've used them before, in training and so forth, military, police, and I don't like them as much, to be honest with you. I mean, they're fine for subduing suspects or what have you, And there's techniques you can use when you have a suspect on the ground is resisting arrest and so forth. And we had to train with them, they pepper spray you and everything. You got to fight through it and use the ASP and all the rest of that stuff. Just try to subdue a suspect in training and whatnot. Personally, I never really liked them. I have one, but I never really liked them too much. And you can't really get them anyway for the most part. They're very expensive, and they have a button on the end, and you when you pull it out of the pouch, you just kind of sling it like that, and it opens up, and and it's shorter than this even, and then to put it back in, you got to slam it on the ground, and push it down, and push it down while depressing the button on the end. And sometimes it won't collapse on you, so you can't get it back in, so you can put it in the pouch. So like I said, I don't really like them. But old school police, and you might see it, in movies that were made like in the 80s and 90s. Not so much now, but like Colors comes to mind, a movie that they had us watch in the academy and so forth, where what they'll do is they'll take these police batons and they'll put them just on the side of the seat, side of the driver's seat, and or wherever, maybe even on the passenger seat, wherever they have immediate access to them, right? When they get out of the car in a traffic stop or whatever, you'll see in like the older movies or whatever, they'll walk up to the car, they'll have the baton in their hand, and they'll put it into the baton ring to hold it in place or what have you. Okay. Well, I keep this in the next to the driver's seat in my car. That way, I have immediate access to it if I ever need it, when I ever need it. And what I'm going to suggest to people is you go and you get a baseball bat or a softball bat, whether aluminum or wooden. I mean, aluminum doesn't break, but you know, whatever you're comfortable with. And aluminum is lighter too. But I'm going to show you some techniques that you can use using this police baton. But because a baseball bat or a softball bat will be bigger, you know, and thicker. But the concept is the same. It's all the same. And I did a video on this. I think it was my first self-defense video on the other channel called Baseball Bat 101, and probably my favorite one actually. And because I think it's really useful and effective, because it's not a weapon that you can necessarily, a tool or what have you, that you can necessarily kill anyone with, but you can do some damage. And you can escape a situation without seriously hurting someone, but you can incapacitate them long enough for you to escape, get in your vehicle, drive off, whatever the situation may be. So I'll give you a scenario here. You keep this on, you know, baseball bat, what have you, you know, in immediate access, where you can get immediate access to it in your vehicle. All right. Someone tries to carjack you. You know, you just finished loading the groceries. You're trying to get in the car or whatever the case is. Maybe you can get the door open in time, or there's a situation where, you know, you see someone coming towards you. You know, and this is how desperate people are going to respond. They may not have guns and try to carjack you with a gun. Sometimes they might. You got to be wise. You got to be vigilant. You got to be aware of your surroundings and whatnot. But if it's a situation where people are just desperate, you know, now if they're asking, that's one thing. But if they're trying to steal, for me, that's another. Okay, I don't like thieves. Okay, but you know, you gotta. Each situation is different. But if you have to use a baseball bat or something of that nature, I'm going to show you how to properly do it, because most of the time people will panic. They'll pick up an object, they'll pick up something. If they don't know how to use it properly, they'll start swinging wildly, you know, like a wild man or a wild woman or something. That's bad for a few reasons. One is you're going to tire yourself out very quickly. Two, you're probably not going to hit anything except maybe yourself or things around you, but not the person. Three, it's easy for them to disarm you. You know, wait for you to get tired out, or as you're swinging back, they can grab it, you know, and pull it away from you, pull you down, or what have you. You have to have control, self-control, self-discipline, like everything in life. All right. So I'm going to show you some very simple things here. Pretend like this is a baseball bat or a softball bat. Okay. Now, say you're getting out of your vehicle, or someone's coming towards you, or whatever the case may be. Getting carjacked, in the process of getting carjacked, stealing your groceries, whatever, and you can grab something, okay? You're able to grab it, all right? So immediately you grab whatever you can, okay? So how do you use it without swinging like a wild man or wild woman and still maintain control of the situation as much as possible, okay? However you grab it, whether you're right-handed or left-handed, okay, there's a way to do this, all right? Immediately, okay, so you grab it from your vehicle, right hand, left hand, doesn't really matter, okay? Immediately, you put whichever hand, you know, you didn't grab it with on the bottom here, and you hold it kind of like a baseball bat, okay? But you're not just swinging like crazy, okay? There's control here, okay? And you got to kind of aim a little bit. Remember, anything to the head or the neck is considered fatal, all right? So what you want to do is you want to hit bony prominences as much as possible. If you have to hit them in the head, you got to do what you got to do, okay? It could be a life or death situation here, all right? But, you know, aim for like the shoulder, and you step in. Basically, you step forward and you swing at the same time, and then you take a step back. The reason you take the step back, and you don't leave it out there, you bring it back. That way it's harder for them to disarm you. And if they continue to come at you, step forward, swing, step back. So shoulder, elbow, knees, hips, knees. Whatever you can hit, you step forward, you bring back. Step forward, bring it back. Step forward, bring it back. You know? And that way you maintain control. And it's kind of like swinging a baseball bat, but it's like a check swing. If people play baseball or softball or whatever, it's like a check swing. It's not a full swing all the way around. Because you lose control then, you miss, and then you're wide open for them to hit you in the face or whatever. So step back, or swing, step back, swing, step back, swing, step back. Okay. Now, the proper way to hold this thing, if you have time, that's in an immediate situation. You got to grab it, and you got to do something very quickly to protect yourself, protect your family, or whatever. Get in your car, drive off. Okay. Now, get out of the situation, whatever it is. Okay. But if you have time, okay, and you grab it, and you have time. Okay. So you grab it. All right. What you want to do is you just kind of hold it, just kind of like this. All right. And there's a reason for that. Okay. One is, if they rush you, immediately you have the end of the bat, or whatever, the fat part of the bat would be down here, but the end of the bat would be here. So immediately you can just jab just like that, right to wherever, face, neck, throat. I mean, like I said, those are kind of fatal blows, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. So, like that, immediately, okay? You can, and you have control of it the whole time. Now, if you need to continue on, then there's another thing you can do, okay? You just simply flip it and still hold on to it. So you just flip it over, just like that. Still hold on to it. Slide the hand that's back, not the furthest one back, but slide the hand that's near the grommet here on this, or it would be like the skinny part of the bat, okay? Slide that forward, okay? And then bring it up like this and go down. So down into the chest, just like that. And then back around and then up, and then thrust up. So like into the solar plexus, into the sternum. Knock the wind out of somebody there. Maybe you break their sternum. You know, there's something that's called the xiphoid process here for people who know CPR or have performed CPR before. You know about that because it's like a notch, basically right where your sternum ends and your rib cage begins. And when people are doing CPR, a lot of times they might break that off or what have you. You try not to, but things happen. But you hit somebody right there, you know, with a blunt object, it's gonna hurt. You might break something. You know, you hit them in the sternum. You know, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna definitely bruise them, and it'll probably knock the wind out of them. So anyway, you have the time. You grab the thing. Sorry, I got somebody outside here. I'm always vigilant, folks. Not paranoid, just vigilant. You know, they're not on my porch. They're just in the general vicinity. You know, so I'm just kind of looking. So anyway, because I got my door open. But anyway, so if you're able to grab it, okay, you just kind of hold it. And you'll see old school cops, old school police, this is what they'll do. If they're on patrol or whatever, or they're just standing outside a store or whatever, just like that. You don't see it anymore, but you used to. Just like that, you know, just relaxed, you know. It's kind of like relax right into the webbing of the hand here, and then the other one just on top. So if somebody brushes them or whatever, you know, I mean, you're just kind of chilling out, you know, just like that, immediately, boom. So thrust, you know, switch the hands over if you need to, down, switch the hands over. But you don't even have to switch hands over, really. It's just because if you switch hands over, you might drop it. So it's best to just strike just like that, okay? But yeah, I mean, if you want to switch your hands because that's not comfortable for you, you can, but then you take the risk of dropping it. So it's just like that. Boom, boom. So I'm gonna show you again real slow, all right? You gotta grab it real quick, whichever hand, whether you're right or left hand, it doesn't matter, okay? Immediately, you've got it kind of like a baseball bat, all right? So if that's what you gotta do, that's what you gotta do. Strike, step back, step forward, strike, step back. Step forward, strike, step back. I screwed that up. You get it though, okay? Step forward, strike, step back. Step forward, strike, step back. Step forward, strike, step back, okay? That way you're always maintaining control, you're giving yourself space, you know, and if the fool wants to keep coming at you, you just do what you gotta do, man. I mean, especially if they're drunk or high or whatever. I mean, there's all kinds of creeps out there. So, and then if you have the time to hold it properly, okay, you know, you have it like this, okay, flip it, or you could just take this hand right here, bring it back, jab, jab. You do it like that if you want to. That's not as effective. The main thing is you maintain control of it. You're not swinging wildly and you maintain control. But I like the best thing, and the way they taught us in the academy is flip it, boom, boom, you know, boom, step back if you need to, you know, boom, boom. Because when you step forward, that's how you get the full thrust. I mean, and you don't have to be strong to do this. I mean, a child can do this. You can teach this to anybody. Teach your children, your grandchildren, wives, husbands, whoever wants to listen, you know. I mean, this is simple stuff, and it could be life-saving, you know. And, you know, you're not trying to kill anybody. You're not trying to, you know, beat them to death. You're just trying to get their attention, okay? I mean, whatever it takes, you know. Maybe just take one, you know, just right to their chest, you know. I mean, that's going to hurt, you know. Like, you do this properly, you know, you flip this thing, you have the time, you're holding it like this, and they want to come forward, be stupid like that. You turn that thing over, jab them, come down, jab them, up, jab them. I'm telling you, they'll leave you alone. You hit somebody in the shoulder, the elbow, the wrist, the hip, the knees. It's gonna hurt. They're gonna leave you alone, you know. And then you can get in your car and you can drive off, because I think the time is coming very shortly here that people are going to get violent. You know what? I know a lot of people are still saying Jesus is going to come rescue me, you know, and I don't need to worry about this, and why are you showing me this stuff, and it's going to be fine, and you know, and God's going to protect me. He gives you a brain, folks. He gives you a brain. He gives you a way to defend yourself. He expects you to use whatever you have at your disposal to defend yourself. Your mind, your body, tools, weapons, whatever. Whether people want to agree with that or not. It's like, listen, you have a choice. You can either be a victim because you choose to be, or you can train. You can learn some things. You can be knowledgeable about some techniques and tactics. I'm not saying you have to go out and take martial arts and all the rest of that stuff. I'm not saying that. Although Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a very good martial art to learn, because if you, or at least to know a little bit about, you can go on YouTube and look up all kinds of videos and so forth about ground fighting techniques, because most fights end up on the ground. People get knocked down, they lose their balance, they trip over things, they have the wrong shoes for certain terrain, footing is a big deal, you always want to be aware of your surroundings, escape routes, what's behind you and the side of you and so forth. But when it comes to ground fighting and so forth, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is very good as far as ground fighting techniques, because most fights end up on the ground, and if women are being taken advantage of, they're going to most likely be taken to the ground and so forth. So you might want to learn some choke techniques. You might want to learn, certain things that you can do, with your legs, and and how to get out of certain situations, to put them to your advantage. So I'm going to recommend something my instructor from years ago, grapplingmastery.com. Grappling, like you grapple, grapplingmastery.com. Brian Ruscio was my instructor. Still there. And he's great. He's black belt, and he taught everywhere from kids to senior citizens, self-defense, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So I'm going to recommend that site and their YouTube channel, and people can just kind of research, because you're going to want to know. Most people have no idea what to do when they're on the ground. And most situations, you get hit hard or whatever, you're going to fall down on the ground, and that's when people can take advantage of you. That's when they can really hurt you, if you don't know how to fight on the ground. So I'm going to suggest people learn some ground fighting techniques, as well as what to do with certain tools, certain weapons at your disposal. Keys. I have what do you call it, Swiss Army knife, duh, on my key ring as well, because that's a life-saving thing as well as other knives and so forth. But you know, you just never know, right? But when you're walking, you know, to your car in the parking lot or what have you, you know, you can hold your key just like this and you have a stabbing device, stabbing instrument, just like that, as you're walking to your car or whatever. If somebody tries to come in, take advantage of you or whatever, at least you've got something. Do you want to really stab somebody in the eyes or the face or the throat? Not necessarily, but do you want to get hurt? Do you want to get beaten to death? I don't. So so you know, you got a stabbing device right here if you're walking to your vehicle or what have you, you know, and you already got your keys in your hand, you know. Don't start your engine, you know, as you're walking, because a lot of people can do that now as you're walking to your car. Don't do that. Don't do that. Wait, you know, be patient. Make sure your surroundings are safe before you get in your vehicle. Be wise as you're unloading groceries. You just never know who's watching. So just be vigilant, be wise. But yeah, you know, this is a good way to hold your keys as you're walking to your vehicle or whatever. There's a lot of different techniques out there that people can research and study and whatnot. But yeah, I was just thinking while I was walking earlier about the fuel rationing and what could potentially happen here real soon, especially with the sheeple out there. I mean, it's the clueless masses. They don't get it. They're not gonna get it. So they're gonna get desperate. They're gonna get stupid. They're gonna get violent, and they won't take responsibility for themselves. And so they're gonna blame you, or they're gonna say, well, how come you have what I don't have? Well, because I'm smart, okay, because I'm wise, because I listen to the Holy Spirit, I listen to the Lord. He told me how to prepare. He told me what to do, you know, because that's what I was doing while you were out, you know, Netflix streaming or whatever. I was praying, you know, I was asking Jesus. I was going for walks, and I was asking the Lord what I should do, you know. So, but they're not going to see it that way. They're going to see that you have groceries, you have water, you have food, you have this, you have that. I don't. I want it. I want to take it. Especially if they look at you and they see you as a victim. Maybe you're smaller than they are, or they consider you to be weaker, or whatever the case may be. You got to have something to defend yourself, protect yourself. If you don't like guns or you don't want to carry or whatever, I get that. You know, I understand that. Okay, me, I love all tools and all weapons. Anything can be a weapon. This is a weapon if you know how to use it properly. The Bourne movies, Jason Bourne, you know, Matt Damon is Jason Bourne and stuff. Man, anything. Those fight scenes in those movies, the choreographed fight scenes, from the best fight scenes I've ever seen. I mean, but there's this one where he has the ballpoint pen, you know, just like this, you know, and he jacks the dude up. I mean, he tears this guy up with a ballpoint pen. Because if you know how to use a pen properly, just kind of like a knife, you know, you can do a lot of damage. I mean, it's sharp at the end, you know, and you just, I mean, you can, it's a stabbing instrument, you know, if you know how to use it properly. There's all kinds of things. I mean, a rolled up magazine. There's I think it was the Bourne Supremacy, the second one. He gets in a fight, it's like a stick fighting fight with a rolled up magazine though. He gets a magazine, he rolls it up real tight. He jacks this dude up with a rolled up magazine. I mean, it's like anything can be a weapon. Anything, you know, tools, screwdrivers, hammers. If you know how to use things properly, and you maintain control of the tool, of the weapon, then you have a very good chance of getting out of a situation without getting hurt badly. But if you swing like crazy, if you panic, if you just freak out, there's a good chance you're going to get disarmed, and then that weapon or tool could be used against you. So you've got to be wise, you've got to be smart, self-control, you know, I think that's it. So I hope this is helpful to somebody. A person asked me about a self-defense playlist, and you know, I don't know if I can bring that back up or not. I don't even know if I want to. But like I said, sometimes you get a wild hair or whatever, I'm just, talking to the Lord. I'm just out walking and I get ideas, thoughts that come to my head. And this is the thing that I can't escape from. I think the shortages are coming in a major way here real soon. And people need to be prepared because they're going to be looking for victims at gas stations, at grocery stores, at just in your own home, in your driveway or whatever, as you're unloading groceries or whatever. You just got to be vigilant. You got to be careful and very wise in these times. So, yeah, I'm not going to get into a whole lot. There's a lot of things I want to talk about, but I'm not going to get into a lot of it now. I need to kind of mellow, after my 12-hour shifts and stuff. I'm just kind of chill a little bit. But, yeah, I know a lot of people are looking forward to the rapture. They think you're going to be out of here by May and so forth, the end of May. And, I'm not here to dispute that. But just in case you're not, and you got to continue on through June, the summer or whatever, it's going to get not only literally hot, figuratively hot. And I'm just a big proponent of self-defense and just being as ready as possible for as many situations as possible. It's just who I am. It's just how I was raised and how I believe. So anyway, hope this is helpful to you. Maybe I'll come on and do some more things like this. I've got some other ideas, but yeah, a little bit at a time. We'll see what kind of feedback I get on this, and we'll just see how it goes from there. All right, you guys have a blessed day. Take care. Bye-bye.